What is UEFI and how does it affect Windows boot? Imagine turning on your computer and it starts up faster, more securely, and can handle larger hard drives. That's partly thanks to UEFI, or Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. This modern system replaces the old BIOS, which was used for decades to start up computers. Unlike BIOS, which works in a limited 16-bit mode, UEFI runs in 32-bit or 64-bit mode. This means it can access more memory and hardware resources, making the startup process quicker and more flexible. When you power on your computer, UEFI kicks in first. It initializes all hardware components like the processor, memory, and storage devices. It then performs a quick check called the Power on Self-test to make sure everything is working properly. After that, UEFI loads the Windows Boot Manager from a special partition called the FI System partition. This partition uses the GID partition table, which supports larger drives over 2 terabytes and more partitions than the older master boot record system. The Boot Manager reads configuration data stored in non-volatile memory, which is like a small, permanent memory that keeps settings even when the computer is off. This data tells it which operating system to load. If you have multiple operating systems installed, UEFI can handle booting into any of them, giving you a choice at startup. In Windows, UEFI has been the standard since Windows 8. The process involves UEFI firmware starting up, then loading the Windows Boot Manager file named bootInfo. This file then reads the boot configuration data, which contains details about how Windows should start. The Windows OS loader, called WinLoad, FE, then takes over and loads essential drivers and the Windows kernel itself. One of the key features of UEFI is Secure Boot. This security feature checks the digital signatures of bootloaders and critical system files. If anything looks suspicious or untrusted, Secure Boot stops the process to prevent malware from loading during startup. This helps keep your system safe from rootkits and other malicious software. Compared to BIOS, UEFI offers many advantages. It speeds up boot times because hardware initialization is more efficient. It supports drives larger than 2 terabytes through the GID partition table. It also provides better security with features like Secure Boot. Plus, its flexible boot manager makes it easier to manage multiple operating systems and boot devices. When troubleshooting Windows boot problems, knowing whether your system uses UEFI or BIOS is important. UEFI systems relying on FI bootloaders and the GID partition table, so fixing boot issues often involves managing FI boot entries or repairing the FI system partition. Tools like Windows Recovery Environment can help repair UEFI boot configurations by rebuilding the boot entries or restoring the FI partition. In summary, UEFI modernizes the way computers start up by providing a faster, more secure, and adaptable interface between hardware and Windows. It determines how hardware is initialized, how the bootloader is loaded, and how security is enforced during startup. This makes Windows boot processes more reliable and better suited for today's hardware.